was in the Sneaker Pimps and is now doing his own project, etc. And now we've got kind of in the middle of the set, as it were, or the middle of the day, we've got the wonderful Ben from Small Talk. We'll be speaking to him any minute now, just after this. There you go. The wonderful Analog Trash who sponsor this program. Have you ever thought about having furry cats in any of your videos?
Not particularly, no. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of cats. I mean, I don't mind cats, but I'm not I prefer dogs. So
you're more of a dog person.
More of a dog person, but I think I'd definitely put a dog in a video, like a music video or something.
Why not? At some point exactly. That could happen.
Exactly. So Ben,
you're from the band Small Talk. You're a young band. You're just really sort of starting out on the scene, etc. Why Small Talk?
So it was actually suggested by one of our friends. We were basically trying to come up with a name for the band, and we had like loads of ideas, but they were all rubbish. I remember some of them. It was like it was like Plain Haven or something. One of them was like something adolescent.
You didn't want to sound like a caravan park.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was like none of them kind of hit. And then one of my mates just went, "Oh, what about Small Talk?" And we were like, "That rolls off the tongue quite nicely. There's no big bands called Small Talk yet, so we'll take it." So yeah, it just basically stemmed from there, really.
I mean, you tempted with that to kind of play on the name at any point and sort of, produce maybe a book of small talk for people to.
Or use it as a merch idea. Yeah, no. Funny enough, I've never liked small talk since I was younger. So I've always been quite shy. But so it was like kind of quite funny because we were like, oh, we all hate small talk, but
it's ironic.
It's gonna be the band name. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. When did you all start? When did you start actually making music?
So it's a long story. Basically, I had no musical background when I was younger. I played like a lot of sport. I was very sporty. And then when I was 18, I picked up the guitar. So this was about 3 years ago, and I just started like playing your basic chords. I just started learning the guitar. And then I started kind of writing my own songs. They were terrible, obviously, because everyone's first songs are terrible. And then I met up with Harry, our drummer, was a friend of a friend kind of thing. So we met up with him, and then we basically just started rehearsing in 2019. And then it wasn't called Small Talk then. And we were terrible. Like, we didn't even have a bassist, and we thought we didn't need a bassist. I mean, we were absolutely dreadful.
I love the honesty that's coming.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I can't lie. There's no talent whatsoever. I'll tell you that now. But eventually, I then went off to uni, and I put down the guitar because I was just so busy with life and stuff. And then lockdown hit, and I picked it back up again, like everyone did, and it just stuck. And I was like, oh, I'm getting back into this. And then I called Harry up again, and we were like, let's go and rehearse. And then we kind of formed a band around it, and just started writing the songs really, and it all kind of fell into place. And that was like maybe August 2021 when we actually officially kind of started Small Talk. So not long at all.
The Office of National Statistics have got a wonderful website with lots of wonderful statistics for all sorts of things that happened during COVID. But the one thing that they failed to grasp and mention is, I wonder how many bands actually started as a result of people having COVID and being stuck, really.
Yeah. We would have never started if it wasn't for COVID, 100%. I mean, I didn't even touch the guitar when I was at uni, so that was like 8 months, and then COVID hit, and I came back home. That was the reason I actually picked up the guitar. So I don't think any of this would have happened without it. So however horrible it was like, something good did come out of it, for us. And it was kind of crazy really how it progressed. the last
No,
kind of
I
year
think
or so.
sometimes that's quite a common story, not the COVID one necessarily, but through other people's lives. I mean, I in terms of guitar, I actually didn't pick up guitar for ages because I was in a band from the age of 14,
Cool.
but singing, and nobody would let me near a guitar because they were a bit precious about
Yeah.
they were a bit precious about it. It's like, no, well, you're not the guitarist, so occasionally when people crept out of the room to make a cup of tea, I would pick up the guitar and make a horrible noise with it. But it wasn't until much later, actually, after a band that I was in disbanded, and I was kind of left in this house with about 20 guitars because the guy that I was renting off of just had an enormous amount of instruments.
Nice.
And I spent about 6 weeks solidly. I think I'd finished my exams, and I had about 6 weeks solidly after uni, just playing. And I thought, I'm going to write some stuff.
Yeah.
It was a similar kind of thing for you, really, was it? It was just kind of real full immersion, not sort of letting go of an instrument.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I've always had songs in my head, so I've always generated songs in my head, but because I wasn't musical, I never knew, what to do with them in essence. So when I picked up the guitar and I actually started learning the instrument and getting competent at it, I started thinking like, okay, I've got these songs in my head and I know how to now kind of translate them into a song. Yeah. And now it's the only way I write songs is it will just pop up in my head randomly one day and they'll be the best songs because it's like, I don't know, that's our songs are centered around a catchy melody. And I've always had this thing where I've always come up with these catchy melodies in my head and it's like a way of getting them down. And then when I learned guitar, it was like, okay, I know how to kind of get those out there now. And that's how pretty much all of our songs were written, is just me starting out with something in my head, like a melody or a guitar part in my head or something. And yeah, that's kind of how they all started.
And your songs are really, really catchy, which is great. You're right. You've got strong melody there. Something that can quite anthemic in a way. Something that people could, you can imagine someone singing this at Wembley Stadium. Where would you like to take this musically? I mean, you say you're busy at the moment with, everything music. What's the kind of ambition for the band?
Oh, we just want to like go as far as we can. Like we just want to make it, like, basically. But thing it like we've basically put everything into it, so it's like we're kind of like a go all
sold
in.
Our souls to the devil.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Like go all in or nothing. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to have any regrets when I'm older and be like, I wish I'd taken the band more seriously and because we all believe that we've got like we've got kind of a certain thing where I feel like we can make it if we really like put in the work, and I think we've got the work ethic and we've got the kind of songs as well. So I feel like we really believe in the project. So I do think like I do hope one day, even if we make it to the point where we're playing like festivals and we're booked out for the summer and festivals and great, like I'm buzzing, you know what I mean? That's like my dream. So yeah, just as far as we can take it really. And I know life catches up eventually, but we're kind of like, you know what, you've only got one shot at it, so why don't take it? You know what I mean? And we're only young, so we've got quite a few years ahead of us. So yeah.
Over the weekend, I was listening to Bono from U2 talking about his book that he's written, being interviewed about that, and talking about U2 when they were young, that they didn't have much, but they had it, and the importance of kind of the relationship between the people in the band in terms of they had this self-belief that they were going to go. How important is that your relationship with the others in the band in terms of
it's massive.
making this work?
Yeah, I mean, me and Harry are literally like, we're just such good mates. I mean, outside of the band and in the band, we kind of connect with each other. We know we've got a similar kind of sound that we want to go for, and I think that's really important. I think bands can sometimes, when you have like 4 different people writing songs and they're all different, it's like you can get this kind of, I don't know, maybe sometimes it just doesn't work because one person will want this, the other person wants this. But me and Harry were always on the same page. And yeah, it's like, it's perfect really. It's like kind of, you just kind of feed off each other. like every idea I'll suggest or Harry suggests, it'll be like, yeah, that's exactly, you know, what I was thinking, which is weird. But yeah, no, we really do have like a good connection, I think, and that helps massively, you know, when you're going on tour, like, you know, you want to be mates with the people that are in your band, you know. And we just recently brought in our bassist, Rob, and he's like one of my best mates from like, you know, like the last few years. So he's in the band. It's just like it's basically like three mates making music.
It's the Three Musketeers.
Exactly, yeah. And it feels, you know, it feels like, doesn't feel forced, you know, it feels natural, and I think that's really nice. I think it's really important to like the people you're in the band with, and a lot of the time, surprisingly, that won't happen. Like, I mean, you'll get some sort of tension between members, but in small talk at the moment, there's nothing. Like, we're just all kind of on the same page, and we all want the same thing, which is great. So, yeah.
Are you quite excited by the scene at the moment? There seems to be a really, I mean, I'm going to be talking to the Sherlocks a bit later. I mean, there just seems to be a really great scene out there at the moment of English guitar bands that are just, you know, knocking it over, coming out with the most amazing material, but also seem to really be in it for each other as well. Really happy that other people are succeeding. I mean, do you feel that?
Yeah, 100%. It's a great scene. I mean, there's like, so the problem is now there's so much music out there. It's really hard to kind of get yourself heard. But now I really do think, even in literally the last year, I think the indie scene has come on massively. You know, we're getting bands like the Raytons getting in the charts, you know, getting top of the charts. You know, like all sorts is happening, and it's really exciting to see, you know. And I think there's loads of bands that are kind of like actually getting signed to major labels, and like they're indie bands, you know what I mean? And or they started out as indie bands, and that's where I think there's almost like this kind of curve where indie guitar music is coming back again. And I think in the next few years, it's just going to keep getting stronger and stronger. And yeah, it's a really exciting scene to be a part of, because I like, you know, it's like, hold on, if we can bring everyone else with us, you know what I mean? Like if all the bands can bring each other up, it's like you'll all get to the same level, you know, eventually. And that's a really exciting thing. Yeah, it's a great scene at the moment. And I think it was a niche one, but I think it's really I think it's going to grow and grow until it's kind of on the mainstream again. I really do believe, because it hasn't happened for however many years, you know, guitar music has been in the mainstream, but I really do think in the next few years it can definitely make it, I think. Yeah.
And what I think is really, really different about it is that, you know, I think there used to be a thing where sort of bands, kind of younger bands, held on the sort of coattails of, you know, the established bands that had really, really made it, etc. But almost it feels like we're in a time now where, you know, yes, we know, like this year, we you know, Blur are out headlining again, and you know, Pulp and you know, all of the big bands are out there again. But I just feel like, you know, nobody in the sort of younger scene coming through is particularly on that, really, in a way. No. They're driving a completely new bus, if you like, right the way through this. And it's, you know, it's not that they might not like that music or have been inspired by it in the past, but this just feels like this is coming in fresh, and it's not kind of reliant on, you know, sort of, you know, toddling along behind someone else, you know. And I think 100%. Everybody's just kind of really busting it at the moment.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think as well with I believe a lot of festivals, they really should start shifting their headliners and really start kind of moving with the times, because I feel like you see a lot of festival lineups and a lot of the headliners, they're all from like 10, 15 years ago, and it's like I love bands from that era, you know. I love like older bands, but there's got to be a point where we've got to bring in the newer music to get people on board with it. And the only way I think that's going to happen is by like big events and festivals giving a chance to the kind of smaller acts and kind of bringing them up the stages and stuff, rather than maybe giving a slot to a major band. And I know it's what people want to listen to, but I think the more exposure bands get to people's ears, I think the more people are going to like them. But obviously, I think that exposure, that kind of airplay on the whether it's radio or on festivals or whatever, that's always kind of the bigger bands have always got that.
Yeah, well,
and
maybe do a start to that. You know, maybe
Yeah.
have like a, you know, if you're running over 3 days, have a new music Sunday.
Exactly.
Where
Yeah.
everybody on the Sundays like of now.
Recent bands, yeah, 100%. I think it's got to change with the times. Otherwise, we will never. Because people complain like, oh, there's no new good guitar bands, but it's just because people don't hear them.
Absolute nonsense, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It really annoys me when people say that, because there are so many, like, I can't tell you how many good guitar bands there are out at the moment, and people just like, they just they don't listen to it. That's the only reason they haven't found it. And yeah, people are just kind of stuck in this bubble with the kind of 90s bands, and I think people need to kind of venture out and kind of really research these new bands that are coming through, because there are some really good guitar music coming out at the moment. And yeah, we kind of all need to move with the times, I think.
Half of that problem, Ben, is possibly the way that music's curated these days.
Yeah.
You know, as a young person yourself, how do you feel about the way that it's kind of curated? I mean, do you know, I've watched you on Twitter and, you know, on social media. You've obviously managed to get a great following there of people that are really genuinely interested in what you're doing. Do you think that there are young people out there that are perhaps a little bit sick and tired of being told this is what you're going to listen to next, and actually we might get back to another generation now? Like when I was young, you know, you had an absolute thirst for wanting to discover music, and you would go to clubs, you would go to gigs, you would, you know, you would like go to the record shop and go, what have you got that's, you know, that's really buzzing? Do you think there's going to be a generation that are not going to ask that bloody dot in the corner anymore?
Unfortunately, I don't think so. I think there's too many powerful influences in the industry to influence what people listen to, and I don't think that will ever be overturned, especially with things like TikTok now and stuff, and algorithms that dictate which songs do well and which don't. I think it's just too almost computerized. And so say someone will listen to a song they really like on Spotify, and the algorithm will recommend them similar songs, and algorithms, people can influence them, you know, people who work there can influence them, and yeah, you can push a song which no one's ever heard of to like millions of ears, and there's bound to be, you know, a million people that will like it. So I think with algorithms and new technology, I think that, unfortunately, I don't think will happen again. I'd like to be proved wrong, but I think we're in a kind of age where like it's all about the 2 second, you know, instant kind of hit of satisfaction. And that's kind of like with our music, we write catchy hooks. That is a catchy hook, you know, it's 2 seconds of like joy, isn't it? And we do that, and there's no doubt, because we know that's what people like, you know, nowadays.
You're not going to complain if one day a bit of your music ends up on an advert on TV.
No, exactly. But that's the thing. Like it's like we write music because we know that people our age love, you know, like 3 seconds of joy, you know, and that's what we write our music for, I guess. But yeah, no, it's a different thing now. I you wouldn't get really 7-minute long songs. I mean, Taylor Swift, the 10-minute All Too Well version, did very well, obviously. But I feel like now with like 8-minute long songs, they won't get anywhere, just because people haven't got the attention span to listen to an 8-minute song, you know, unless it's got something interesting every kind of 20 seconds or something. So I feel like nowadays, very much it's digital, everything's digital, and I think gig kind of going to gigs will decline, unfortunately. But I'd like to be proved wrong, you know.
I'd love to see you proved wrong about the gig thing. Yeah. I mean, in a way, though, is that not something that will actually improve for a little bit? Because I mean, we've obviously gone through the worst time in history for people going to gigs, because people couldn't go out to gigs. I mean, yourself, I mean, you go out to other people's gigs.
Yeah. I mean,
and
it's not a big music scene, but there are some good bands on here. So yeah, I go out and watch gigs.
My feeling whenever I've been to a gig since COVID is it's just been people have just been absolutely hungry for it. I mean,
I think the people who want to go are desperate to go. But if you look at there was a BBC News article about the decline in gig ticket sales since COVID, and it's like a massive decline, and I think obviously there's a lot to do with the cost of living and everything, but I don't know, it is a shame because that's the only really way that we can make a living is by gigging nowadays rather than selling records, because you get nothing from Spotify now. Like, even if you do like 1 million streams, you get it's still a decent amount of money, but it's not going to be able to let you quit your job, but big tour, selling out big tour could, that's income, isn't it? That's
well, do you know what? I'm gonna. So it made me think while you were saying that. I'm going to put my marketing head on and say, maybe younger bands. What you need to do is you need to market it a little bit like Aldi did.
Yeah.
Other supermarkets are available when they came over into the UK, because clearly. Do you remember the first Aldi advert on TV? Do you remember that for Christmas?
So,
where they actually took the rise out of another higher brand supermarket, as it were, and they said, they said, well, yes, I like this one, but I also like this one. Maybe younger bands need to do that, and actually, because I'm not sure that a lot of people are aware, in the same way that you said, earlier. A lot of people aren't aware that there is all of this music out there. I'm not sure that a lot of people are aware that there's alternatives to these big gigs that you go to. Because the trouble is, and let's be frank, whilst the cost of living is so high, to get a ticket for a superstar these days, you can be talking £300-400 which and you look at it and go, well, that's the cost of a holiday somewhere, right? Whereas quite reasonably, people at a different level are playing on a week by week basis in some pretty good venues for, say, 10, 15, £20,
or even less,
even less,
like £7. Do you know what I mean? Like, it really is, like,
exactly. So maybe someone should come out with a lovely little advert about sort of like, well, I like this, but I also like this, and look at the price difference and go, well, actually, guys, you want to go to gigs, you could go to 500 of these gigs for one of these.
That's it. I think it was something like you can to go. What was it? Was it Blur tickets? They cost like, what was it, £200 or for the general? It was like you could go to all of our UK tour dates and have enough money left over to buy like 10 pints at each venue and still have money left over for the trains. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's actually crazy how the difference in pricing is. But, that there's an obvious reason why Blur charge £200 to watch their gig, and we charge, £10 or what, £13. There's a reason why that is the case. But I think
it's a great opportunity. I think it's a great opportunity for people.
I think people should take a chance on it and just be like, what I'm going to do for a Thursday night? I'm going to go and watch a local gig for a £5, have a few pints. It'll come out to like, £12 for the night, and you'll probably find your new favorite band. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I think more people should do it. 100%.
You'd even have enough money to buy the T-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'd still be quids in. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So what's next for the band, Ben?
So very exciting, like kind of year really. We're going on the UK tour in March. So the 24th of March to the 31st. So it's basically 6 shows in 7 days. So it's going to be pretty hectic. Yeah. So we're playing Glasgow, Manchester, Birmingham, Brighton, London, and Bristol. So
Bristol, nice one.
Yeah. So it should be good fun.
Glad to hear someone coming to the West Country for once.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, we've always wanted to play Bristol, so it's going to be good fun. So yeah, we got that in March, and then we're hoping to coincide that with an EP release. We're just first time I've said that we got our mixers back today for it, so sounding pretty good. So yeah, we're just kind of hoping to get that released before the tour. And yeah, then after that, we've got like a big festival. We're like on the same bill as like Jake Bugg and the Raytons, and the Amazons. That's in Dorset in May, and then we got kind of loads of stuff kind of planned throughout the year. So we're just kind of working on that and seeing where it takes us, really. So yeah, it's exciting.
Excellent. What's the name of the festival? Can you say?
It's Teddy Rocks Festival in Dorset.
Teddy Rocks. I'm going to look that up because that's only down the road.
Oh, really? Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Somerset. I'm in lovely Somerset.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, you're not too far from me because I'm in Bournemouth. So
yeah.
Awesome.
Well, we need more bands from the south.
We do. We don't have enough, especially in Bournemouth. I mean, it was really like there was only a few bands when we first kind of started out. So it was like now it's really improving. Like there's some really good bands here, and it's getting a lot better. But yeah, we need more kind of South Coast bands. There doesn't feel like there's enough, But yeah, it's cool.
Well, you never know. No. Originally, News were from Teignmouth down here, so who knows? Maybe one day.
Yeah. We could be the first ever famous Bournemouth band, maybe. I don't think there's ever been a band that's famous from Bournemouth.
Not that I can remember, anyway.
No, exactly. So you never know.
Ben, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to meet you today. Thanks for coming and having the chat. I wish you all the best with that, the tour and the EP when that comes out. Folks, if you haven't checked out Ben's music, do go and do that now. The best place to do that, Ben?
Spotify, Small Talk, or just go on our Twitter at smalltalk_BND and our Instagrams at smalltalk.bnd. So find everything there, basically.
Yeah, give them a follow on Twitter because they're very proactive. Well, I guess that's you, is it, Ben?
Tweet a lot. Yeah, it's me. Yeah, we tweet a lot.
Yeah, he does.
Too much. I've got to be careful. I've got to take a few breaks every now and then.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Go for a little walk. Keep the mind fresh.
Exactly.
But look, I do. I wish you all the best. I love your music. I think it's brilliant. Keep doing what you're doing. One day you're gonna be bigger.
Thank you.
Bye for now, Ben. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.